do this. Perfect. There's a progress slowly over here. Morning, happy Friday. I'm here with the one and only Alan Rosenberg. There we go. So thanks for joining everybody on the call. And I'm once again here with Alan Rosenberg. So it's been a wild ride, right?
It has been, and we're not done yet.
For a few years.
We're going to continue to go down this road, baby. Let's go.
So you know what's cool about our industry is that you get to work closely, right, day to day, what have you, and learn from people that have been doing this in various cycles, right? And you know, the interaction, that's why the relationship is so important, because you get to know the individuals, and then you get to work with them, be mentored by them, coached by them, and just have a conversation about, hey, like, what do you see things happening, etc. So give us kind of the quick history of Alan Rosenberg, how you got into business. And
Okay. I've been a realtor for 30 plus years. And I had another business before I did this. Actually, I was in advertising for about 10 years on that too. So I had a pretty good background of doing, because it was like advertising sales. Had a pretty good background, and my friend was doing real estate, and I was trying to transition out of advertising sales, and he kind of talked me into it. And I was realizing that if I'm going to sell something, why am I not selling the most expensive thing that you can buy mostly? I mean, it's not a plane or it's not a boat, but it's a house. And the other items are like luxury items, but houses are necessity. So everybody has to buy one. So, or wants to buy one. So that was kind of my goal at the beginning. And that's how I kind of started.
And so that was like, you know, Rosenberg in a nutshell, right? So take us also through, and that's like what I appreciate, right? Well, people with, I call it wisdom, right? Experience, whatever you're going to call it, right? You've been through, what, 3 cycles?
3
so far?
Yep.
Right.
Maybe 4 coming up.
Maybe 4 is coming up. Is this a premise or?
Premonition.
Right.
Yeah, I've gone through 3 up and down markets that have been kind of tough. One was like at the very beginning of my career, like early 90s. One was late 90s, and one was about 210 to 250, about 214. And each of them were totally different. The 90s one had a lot to do with earthquake, right. And that was a big thing for us. And that was something that no one actually saw coming. So that was kind of a slap in the face, because nobody really expected that. The first one, market had jumped very high in the late 80s, and the market was like on fire, similar to kind of like now, but a little different. And then of course we all know about the third one in the 210s and something that was basically set up by Wall Street, and under basically a misconception that paper that had no value had value. So that was a rock and ride. But I've been through 3 of them, and they've all been different, and have had to handle each one a little bit differently, because I was in different places in my career on all 3 of them.
Yeah, and that's super interesting as well. You know, I truly believe that you want to understand the history, the trend, how things evolve, because once again, you had to, correct me if I'm wrong, you had to reinvent yourself 3 times.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So take us through kind of, you know, the experience, motions, right, of whatever you can remember, right, those 3 times, because, you know,
I'm pretty old, I can't remember a lot of things. But okay, so the first one, which was like the late 80s and early 90s, my first company I worked for a short time, I don't know if many of you know, it's called Fred Sands. It was a regional company, and I worked in the Studio City office, and they did not hire new agents. I was only one of 3 agents who got hired that year. And it was really amazing, because all the agents around me were superstars. They'd all been in the business about 5 to 10 years. and they were making a lot of money. And I'm a new agent, and I'm thinking, well, gosh, this should be really easy, because what I'm just going to do is kind of snipe around what they miss, and I'm just going to pick up their little crumbs, and I'm going to make a really good living. Well, I realized pretty soon, after about 6 months, that the reason they were such good agents was they didn't leave any crumbs. They kept doing all the deals, they kept making all the money.
Right.
And then the market kind of like was changing, and it was challenging. It was like you were really working hard, and kind of a different kind of a business where it was almost where you didn't really want sellers so much. They were great because it's always nice to have sellers because you control the market. But problem was the market was dropping, and when the market drops, sellers don't always want to chase after it because they have a goal in mind how much money they want to make to get to the next one. And a lot of listings were being had. So that was tricky. At one point, I was like, really, another guy and I, we teamed up. This was probably early 90s, and we became like an expired listing team. That's what we did.
Mhm.
And in fact, the two of us competed against the rest of the office, and we were kicking the ass. Seriously, we were doing 15 to 17 listings a month. And that's what we did every day. That's all we did, expired. So that's how we did it. But the unfortunate part was we had all these listings, but the market was dropping so fast, we could hardly sell them. And it was really tricky. Eventually that changed. The business changed, stayed in that business for a while, but things evolved. My partner decided to retire. So kind of different. So that life, or that period of time, those 2 to 3 years, came and went, and then the market started to gain traction again. So it became much more of a normal market. So that was kind of number one. Number two was the earthquake, basically, here. And for me, I had just begun working, and kind of was like, you guys probably don't know what this is, but it's called an up call. It used to have like, you'd have like somebody who would be like on call. It would be taking calls in the office because people didn't have cellular phone numbers. They would call the office. And there would be an agent on call that would basically take calls that comes in, and they would talk to them like potential buyers and potential sellers.
Floor time.
Exactly. So I had one, and I just got a call from a REO company that was looking for somebody to do a BPO, which is a buyer's price opinion. And that's what I did. So I went out, and I didn't know what I was doing, and they liked me, and then they started talking to me more, and they started giving me more of them. And then I just started getting listings for them. And these were good days because I was getting 7% commissions, and I was selling a lot of very high-end properties, and it was really great and worked out really well. So through that time, the earthquake happened. Everybody was like, oh my God, everything's falling apart. And so I got a lot of properties that were very similar, very damaged and beat up, but the bank just wanted to get rid of them and get them off the books. So that I got a lot of listings and did a lot of sales that way. It was great. So that was fun. So the third round in the 210s, I was still doing REOs, and I had a partner, and we did a lot of business, a lot of business. I mean, we were selling hundreds of homes a year. And I don't know, there's a few maybe REO people here, but they probably remember some of this, but we're selling like 200 properties a year, and there were 3 of us. So we were pretty busy. And so everybody, the sad part for me, I mean, I saw my friends and everybody in the office was all kind of like downtrodden and sad. And me, I couldn't keep my feet on the floor because I was running from deal to deal to deal because I was on the other side of it.
Right.
And I was getting banks to give it to me. So that was, for me, it didn't have the kind of effect that it had a lot of other people. And it was hard. I saw a lot of people struggling. But that was just what happened. But when the market was good and there weren't that many REOs, we kind of struggled. And they didn't seem to care about us too much. So, it kind of worked its way out. But I see this market as we're in right now. Wow, what a golden opportunity. So, oh my goodness, so many choices, so many chances, so many things to go after, so much kinds of business. And if you are productive in your life and do even part of what you promised yourself, you can be making a really, really good lifestyle if money is your goal. Seriously.
And you know, if you just joined the call the last few minutes, I recommend, you know, we're gonna send the recordings later today. So let's just watch this again, because there's a lot of once again experience being shared in in a very, you know, short period of time. So here's what I'm picking from what I picked from what you said so far, in a sense of like you had to reinvent yourself, right? And of course, we can go talk about it for hours about the mindset in psychology, how you go about things. But every time there was some kind of a shift or a trend or something, you didn't say, I don't know about this, I can't touch it, I wouldn't want to, whatever. You actually put yourself in front of that opportunity.
Well, you try, and I know this is kind of a, maybe not the greatest analogy, but like in all these movies, and I'm not trying to equate myself with like 9/11, but the thought is that when everyone was running away, where did the firemen run to? They were the guys running forward. So the question to you is, when everybody's running away from the market saying, oh my God, the market's terrible, 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 that's when you should turn on your full force and let's say, go, this is full out time. Let's really push it, because now is the opportunity. And this is even what Keller Williams has been pushing, that this is the time to pick up percentage of growth and market share, because you can become your neighborhood specialist, because everybody else is like backing off, or gosh, the market's not good and nobody wants to buy or nobody wants to sell, whatever it is, whatever the market might be. Sometimes it's buyers, sometimes it's sellers, but try to get the listings, obviously. And this is the time to really, it just shocks me to believe how much opportunity is there in so many different ways. And for every kind of person, you can be outgoing and super friendly. You can be shy as hell and never want to talk to anybody. There's all these different kinds of opportunities, from for sale by owners, or for rent by owners, or absentee owners, or divorce, or probate, or you want to work a golf course and you want to be the golf person who sells only golf properties. You want to sell horse property. So all these things as an opportunity in a marketplace that's changing, you now can be the person. It's not the guy or the woman who's been the neighborhood specialist maybe for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Now is a beautiful opportunity to get in when it's still kind of building, and this market will change and you can be that person.
Yeah,
pretty easily, actually, if you work at it.
So if you had to define yourself as the person, so it would be what? What are you?
Well, you know, if I was a new agent, and what I would say to you, if you're new agents or newer agents, I think one of the major things that I really didn't understand a couple of things. One, I didn't really understand how important database was, especially when I started, because there weren't all that much computers. I mean, we did computers, but it wasn't like now. So now you can keep control of your database and you can send out emails to everybody, but really control your database and keep trying to fill it. That's a big part of what you're trying to do. And so that I'd really say. I'd also tell you, mentors are great. I'm a mentor. I like being a mentor, but you should have a coach. And you should have somebody who is an you can have different kinds of coaches. You can have accountability coaches. You can have somebody productivity coaches, all these different things. But I really super highly recommend some type of a coaching program, because, you know, we see professionals on TV or movies all the time, and they are really good at their craft. And it's not like they were just, not many people, some occasionally, walk right into a movie and they're a star.
Mhm.
Very few of them continue to be stars after the nenext movie, because they did one part really good, but they're not moving forward. You as a coach, if somebody's added you a coach. I relate everything to sports, and I'm a big baseball fan. So I always relate things to how many times you see a guy swinging a bat. The guy's playing baseball. He's up Did that guy just pick up a bat and this was the first time he swung it and go, oh gosh, I hit a home run? No, the guy's been doing this since he's been 5 years old. The guy's 24 years old. The guy might be 35 years old. How many thousands and thousands of times has this guy been practicing this swing, this technique? They move their feet differently because they're in a slump. Things aren't working right. So they change their body things. They throw the ball. It's very simplistic. Baseball's not a tough sport. You got to hit, you got to be able to field and just basic things. Real estate is not that hard. If you prospect and whatever it is, I don't call it cold calling. Cold calling is a dirty word. Nobody likes to hear it. Nobody wants to be cold called. I'd only be cold called. But prospecting, I'm out prospecting. It's a little different. I heard a story the other day, and this was from one of my coaches, and he was talking to somebody else on the Zoom call. And fairly newer agent, 3 or 4 months in the business. And she worked in a market similar to ours in like Southern California. She worked in Northern California. And so he asked her, what was her goal for this year? And she said $200,000. He said, okay. So they broke down the numbers, just like on the MRE and all the things, all these different setups for your future financial things. And it turns out all she had to do was basically go on every 11 days, she had to go on 1 listing appointment. Mm-hmm. And she only had to meet 7 people a day to make $200,000 because the averages worked out because of how much the commission they make in their community, that would make her $200,000.
You mean seven people not a day? Like
7 contacts a day.
A day, not to make, okay.
7 contacts a day.
Yeah.
And every 11 days, she had to go on 1 listing appointment.
Right, yeah.
And she would make $200,000. Now, if she got on 1 listing appointment a day, which is obviously a lot more of your goals, to be a lot more proactive. She didn't have to be that proactive. She would make around $844,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. First year. So the thing is, if we're prospecting and we're really thinking about this, we are lucky to be in an area where the finances really can pay off so handsomely for all of us really well. You know, when you're talking to in these Zoom calls, you guys may have been in with other companies and things, and you see where these guys are making $5,000 or $6,000 as their net. You're thinking, I'm making $15,000 to $20,000 per deal. And you start doing that, that's like 10 deals, you're in 200,000. And if it's a $1 million deal, which is seeming a lot of money, but not really anymore, you should be making, I don't know, bring $20,000 home. You can do this. So I'm just telling you, 7 or 8, 10 calls a day. If you make 30 calls a day, you're gonna look how much more you're going to be productive or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, because if you break it down, it's by the math, it's 3 appointments a month. That's it, a month. So
it's not very hard, and that's a 200,000. I think a lot of your goals may be higher than that. My goals are higher than that. But the point is, if you're doing this now, how are you going about doing this? Are you prospecting by phone, which is, I think, a really great way of doing it? Are you door knocking? Are you social media? Are you doing a little bit of all? I recommend that you try to do a little bit of all, but before you do all, try to master at least one of them. Mm-hmm. If you can master something, whether you want to master for sale by owners, or if you want to master expireds, or whatever it is, and whatever you need to do that. If you're going to door knock, then door knock. Do it. Don't just talk about it. By the way, I can fix all of your problems. I just can't fix mine.
Sounds familiar.
The reality is we can all help each other. We can all we can make everybody else perfect, but can we do it for ourselves? Not so easy. Not so easy. I get it. And I'm very cognizant of explaining myself, but the goals have been more and more of, I really don't do many phone calls or take any phone calls between 9 and noon. And I'm trying to weed my family off from contacting me in the mornings because this is my time. This is where I make money. This is this is, for me, red is making money. That's my red time. This is where I'm working. I don't want to go on physical inspections. I don't want to talk to clients. I don't want to talk to anybody who's calling me. I only want to be going out and working that. And so I started this new program. I've got a coach. Obviously, I'm all jacked up, drinking a lot of coffee, and been working out this morning. So, but the reality is, we are in the industry is so easy. And it's like, if we just did it, I think a lot of it for all of us is complacency. We don't, it's hard doing boring stuff like making phone calls over and over and over. Can you fight that? Can you stay consistent and continue to do it even when you don't want to make those calls? Are you up at 8 o'clock making phone calls for a couple hours? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your wallet say?
Exactly. It is conditioning. I mean, anybody here really, really, really get excited? Are you ever get excited when you brush your teeth? But you just have to do it, right? Hopefully, most of you.
I saw a couple of people who look like
great smiles. Come on. But on point.
It's the consistency of the board. How do you deal with the boredom of like over and over and over again making these calls? But if you can master that, your scripts. I mean, I'm hoping, and I'm not all of you are this way, but I would hope most of you are really diving or digging really hard for listings. Really, really, it's not even, even in a bad market, which I've been in, where everybody wanted buyers. I want listings because listings control the market and everyone has to come to you. They got to buy your product. And it's the goal, and it should be your goal to really push for that. But list to last, which is what I started with.
List to last. I love it. Yeah. That's a good line.
Yeah. That was from my mentor.
So another question for you, right? Talking about that consistency, making something boring into just a habit, etc. Right? How do you keep in shape? Mentally, literally, whatever.
Well, I know a lot of you don't like this, but I am an early riser. I get up pretty early, and we are lucky enough now. During this, we have a local gym right across the hall from us in our office. But before that, and either 24-hour or LA Fitness or way back Sports Connection, all these different clubs. I've always been in a health club, and I like to ride stationary bikes. So I spin or do weights or stuff like that 3 to 4 times a week. And I usually am in the gym by 6 o'clock in the morning and out by 7:30. And then I come into the office, and I got to tell you, it makes me feel really good. My body feels pretty good. I get tired earlier. I'm going to go home around 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've done it a whole day. I'm in here at 6 o'clock. I'm done it too. I've put 6 hours of time in. I want to have some of my own time, but hey, it basically energizes me and makes me feel good all throughout the week. And the endorphins, they're all going. So I recommend some kind of exercise, even if it's just 30 minutes a day at home, doing something to make yourself sweat, whatever it is. Take a cold shower and wake up and on for the day.
Yeah, that's awesome, because you're literally showing up for a prime time, right? There's no wasting time, etc.
And it's not many people here either, by the way. There's only a couple of people who show up
at the gym. Yeah,
half of them here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a few more things. You're with that, being, busy, production, family time, keeping in shape,
Right.
mental shape, physical shape, etc. You also, you're giving back a lot, right? You're mentoring new agents.
Yes,
You're teaching classes.
I do.
You are on our board, on our board of the office, the LC, right? You involved in different various things. Why do you do that?
Well,
your business.
one of my goals, and my goal, I may be a little different, and things change a little bit as you change in your experiences in life and stuff. I like making money, yes. I also like, I kind of like mentoring. I like helping people. I love to see people succeed. If one of the mentees or another agent in my office sells a great property, makes a lot of money, hey, I'm very happy for them, seriously. I don't really get that jealous about them. Oh, I could have been that person, maybe, but they did it. They succeeded. They made a lot of money. They are happy. Their family's happy. I'm kind of happy about it, to be honest with you. So I get enjoyment from them. So that's my mental make. Can I show one thing? I want to do one teaching moment for Mo.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do like a flip.
No, I'm gonna do a teaching moment. So
Yeah.
a couple quick things. One, okay. So the most important thing, by the way, when you're doing all this stuff, it's not necessarily doing the listing. The most important thing is getting the appointment. Because if you're not in front of somebody, you can't do it. You can do a Zoom, obviously, but you have to be face to face, or you need to have that contact. That's number one. Then you go on your listing. And by the way, so if you got into listing, they at least liked you enough or were willing to give you time to talk to them. So now you've won at least over 50% of you're already in the door. Okay. So now you're doing your listing appointment. I hope you've memorized it or whatever. But I want to show you something, which is what I use all the time. And people talk about commission problems. I rarely have commission problems. Sometimes, but rarely. I usually get 6% or 5.5. I always get 3. But I don't know if you guys use this. I don't know if you can even see it. This is the this is the CAR form called the estimated seller proceeds. Okay. This is my gold mine. This is where I make all my money. Okay, right there.
Keep up.
Okay. So if you look at it, there's 3 sections to it. Okay. You see, okay, kind of backwards there, but okay.
No, it's
all right.
they're
So
fine.
you see, it starts on the left and it goes to the right, just like in everything else. But what happens in my goal thing, instead of doing like you would normally start 1, 2, 3, I start 1, 2, 3. So here's how much the property is going to sell for, because I have a number in my head that I think it's going to sell for. I know how much they're going to pay back on their lien. So that's kind of their net gross right here, right here. That's number 1. Then I've contacted escrow and I write in all the numbers. I don't use the escrow one. I use my numbers from escrow, because now this is my form. This is what I provide. So here's all their numbers. And these are hard numbers. These are title costs. These are escrow fees. These are loan time fees, all the fees. And by the way, this is what Keller Williams get, not a commission. This is what Keller Williams gets. This is what the other company gets. And all 3 and 3, or 3 and 2.5, whatever it is, or 3.5, 2.5, whatever it is. But all these numbers are really hard. Maybe an estimate for like $2,000 for your termite, but the $575 in there, the Keller affiliate fee or whatever that fee is, that's in there too. So here's how it goes. It goes 1, how much are they going to make? How much do they own on their lien? And this is how much they're going to net. Here's their costs. And you go down to 3. So 1, say 1, 2, 3. And this is how much you're going to make. And once the buyer sees this number, that's the number in their head, how much money they're going to make.
Yes.
And all the other questions like go
Brilliant.
away.
Brilliant.
Because they don't care about how much the costs are. It's how much are they going to make. And once they see that number, and if they start coming back, which rarely happens, and you say, well, maybe we could lower the buyers, or we can lower the amount the other company gets. We can make it, maybe let's make it 2.5 instead of 3. We'll drop it 0.5%. You know, so let's make it like that. But I never use the word commission ever. I never say I'm going to make. It's Keller Williams is going to make, and this is how much the other company's going to make. And most of my clients, if you got good clients who love you, they want you to do both sides. We'd like you to do both sides, John. Great, thank you very much. I'd like to do it too. Never, and they see that number, that's in their head. When they go out and they're talking to all their friends about how much they're going to make or whatever, what they're going to buy, that's the number they're using. And that's the number you're going to live by. So you better try and I'm fairly conservative, so I'm usually getting more, especially in this market. That's my teaching moment.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant. And look at the chat. The form is ESP. Okay, ESP. So
Yes, that is correct. ESP.
Yeah, look at that and understand the math. It's all about the psychology of sales, right? And that's where that's also where the wisdom kicks in, right? The mileage.
It took a while to get to it, but once that number comes out of your mouth, the listening's over. If somebody ever asks you, you start talking. Just one more second. When I started, we didn't do all the things. We didn't email people offers. You presented an offer in person to the seller. They were right in front of you, face to face. And they didn't always like what you offered. When things were not what they wanted, they let you know it. And they told you right in your face. I've been kicked out of better homes than yours, sir. And I had been kicked out of homes for bringing in lousy offers. They didn't like it. But I will tell you this. If you went to the start at the beginning where it's all the numbers up front and you did that first page, they heard that number. They didn't care about anything you went in marketing. They didn't care about anything. They had a number in their head. So you went backwards and you started at the back of the contract and you went forwards to the very last moment. Then you told them how much they were going to make, because then they'd listen to the whole thing. Once you say the number, listing pretty much is over.
Show me the money.
That's all they care. And that's right to something.
money.
That's what they want.
Yeah, well, that was amazing teaching moment. Okay, so definitely a huge golden nugget for today. Rosenberg, can't thank you enough.
My pleasure.
For your time, your wisdom.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Manny, for bringing me over here. I really came in with welcome arms. You brought me over here. And I also want to say thanks to John, who was my mentor many, many years ago, who kind of helped me along my way too. So yeah, thanks, guys.
Awesome. All right, thanks,
Thank you.
Rosenberg. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Friday. And look at your email. Some of you already got between the offices between now and 9 o'clock all the 2022 annual calendars and all the goodies as well. There's tons of things for 2022, and it's going to be a good year.
I think it's going to be killer.